All right, today we're going to break down one of the most fundamental, most powerful concepts in all of web development, the DOM. It's the engine behind literally every interactive website you've ever used, and if you're serious about being a developer, you have to master it. So let's frame this like you're in a technical interview, and this exact question comes up. By the end of this quick explainer, you're not just going to have an answer. You're going to have a confident, crystal clear explanation. Let's dive in. So here's our game plan. We're going to start with the big idea, the why you should care. Then we'll visualize it with a super simple analogy. After that, we'll get into the nitty-gritty technical details, cover the mistakes almost everyone makes at first, and then wrap up with some pro-level tips to make sure you really stand out. Okay, section 1, the invisible engine. Let's just start with this idea. What is this invisible force that makes a website feel alive? How does clicking a button actually do something? Well, that force is the DOM. And look, this is not some optional, nice-to-know topic. It is the one and only mechanism that allows our JavaScript code to reach into a web page and change what a user sees. If you want to build anything dynamic, you have to go through the DOM, period. So what is it, really? You know, the easiest way to get your head around this whole thing is with a simple analogy. Let's find a way to visualize an entire web page that just clicks. The official name is the document object model. Let's just break that down real quick. Document, that's just your HTML file. Object, this is the cool part. It means every single HTML element is treated as a programmable object we can mess with. And model, well, that just means it's a structural representation of that document. And the best way to picture that model is as a tree. So I want you to imagine your entire HTML page as a family tree. At the very, very top, you've got the root. That's your HTML element. That root splits into two big branches, the head and the body. And hanging off those branches are all the little leaves, your paragraphs, your headings, your buttons, every single thing you see on the page. So how does JavaScript use this tree? Well, check out this code. That first line, document.getElementById, is like telling JavaScript, hey, go climb down that tree and find me the leaf with the ID title. Once we've grabbed it, we can treat it just like an object. We can change its text to Hello World, and then we can reach in and change its color to blue. And the second that code runs, the page updates right before the user's eyes. That incredible, dynamic change, that's the DOM in action. Okay, look, the tree analogy is awesome for getting started, but if you really want to master this, we gotta go a little deeper. So let's peel back another layer and get to the real truth about the DOM's role and how the web actually works. And here is the absolute key takeaway. The DOM isn't actually part of HTML, and it's not part of JavaScript. It's a programming interface, an API that the browser itself provides. You can think of an API as a set of rules and tools that let different programs talk to each other. In this case, the DOM is the official bridge that lets JavaScript talk to, and more importantly, change the HTML. This right here, this slide highlights the most critical distinction. Think of your HTML file, the one you write, as the blueprint for a house. The DOM, that's the actual house the browser builds based on your blueprint. Now, JavaScript can't go back and edit the paper blueprint, but it can absolutely walk into the finished house and move the furniture around, repaint the walls. That's what the user actually sees. And since the DOM is an API, it gives JavaScript a whole toolbox of commands. We get methods like query selector to find things, create element to build new things, and append child to add them to the page. These are the fundamental tools for all modern web interactivity. Okay, so we've got the theory down cold. Now let's get practical. Because, understanding the DOM is one thing, but avoiding the common mistakes is what really separates a beginner from a professional. Let's cover the three biggest tripwires. First, like we just talked about, don't confuse the live DOM with your static HTML source file. They are not the same thing. Second, making too many direct changes to the DOM can really slow your site down. Each change can force the browser to recalculate and redraw everything. And third, oh man, this is a classic, trying to change an element before it even exists. If your script runs before the HTML has been fully parsed by the browser, it'll look for your element and find nothing. And thankfully, here's the standard solution for that readiness problem. This little piece of code adds something called an event listener. It basically tells the browser, hey, hold on, don't run any of the code inside this block until the entire HTML document has been loaded and that DOM tree is fully built. This is your safety net. It guarantees your elements are there when your script needs them.
All right, you now have a rock-solid understanding of the DOM. But let's say you're in that interview. How do you take your answer from just good to great? Let's talk about the details that really show you've got pro-level knowledge.
Here's your interview gold right here. First, mention that the DOM is a W3C standard. The World Wide Web Consortium sets these standards, so your code works the same way in Chrome, Firefox, Safari, everywhere. Second, talk about performance. Explain that changing the DOM can be slow because it can trigger expensive reflows, where the browser has to recalculate the page layout, and repaints, where it has to actually redraw the pixels. And then for the bonus points, mention the virtual DOM. This is a clever optimization used by modern frameworks like React to batch changes together and minimize those costly reflows and repaints.
So here's the bottom line. The DOM is the bridge. It's the connection between your static code and a living, breathing web page. It's not just some technical detail. It's the absolute key to all interactivity. Master it, and you unlock the power to create the kind of dynamic experiences that users love and, of course, that interviewers are looking for. You've got this.